It's not looking good, bruv. It's not looking good. Bitcoin is down to 28.3, and what I really don't like, there's a lot of good on this chart, but what I really don't like is this long and short ratio right here. We've now got 60% of positions for retail traders on Binance are long in the market right now, and blood must be flushed, ladies and gents. So let's take a look at this chart and break down what we're seeing. The dollar is doing nothing particularly interesting, but the S&P 500 is stuck at resistance. We've got one more day on this weekly candle, and this also has, let's see, an hour and a half left. So when you're watching this video, the trading will probably be done for US markets, and we're okay. It's not amazing, but Bitcoin is definitely pulling back right now. We have one day left of the week, so hopefully we can pull back some of the losses we've made, but this cut is starting to become a little bit bloody. People are feeling the pain, and there are some good reasons for the price to continue dropping lower. So I'm going to be covering with you how low I think we can go and if we can actually make that recovery. And the first thing that I want to keep in mind, though, before I carry on with this video, is that no matter what we do, we're actually actively setting a new low for today right now as I speak. Oh, no, not quite. Very close, though. Is that no matter what happens here, there are going to be amazing opportunities in this market. And if you want to be able to take advantage of them with free money that you can trade with, check out the link to Bybit in the description down below. And also, while you're down there, check out OKX. This link has actually expired, but the brand new one is in the description, where you can get up to $20,000 in rewards. There we go. Where you can get up to $30,000 in rewards. My bad, they've increased it. And all you've got to do is register, deposit, and you can get up to 30K when you start trading as well. So very similar offer, but with OKX, you can actually get it even if you don't deposit much money. You only need to deposit $50 to start earning these rewards, because it's random chance. So with Bybit, it's stone cold. Whatever you deposit correlates with what you get. The more you deposit, the more money you get as a reward. But with OKX, it's just down to chance. So check that out with the description link if you're interested. But back to the chart here, what I think is really interesting is that Bitcoin is continuing to drop down now to the bottom of this range. We are basically right at the top of our previous resistance and at the bottom of the box that I drew to represent it, which means that we have now lost that red line of support for Bitcoin, right? So this was the highest level of support that Bitcoin had in this particular range, and it wasn't amazing, so it did end up finding Bitcoin dropping lower, but that's not a big problem. What I don't like is, short-term time frames, we've lost all of our support, right? Our time frame, there's nothing. There's no 𝐿𝐻 support. There's no EMA is actually giving us some resistance right now with our EMA ribbon. But on the 4-hour time frame, I don't like this too much. We lost the EMA ribbon here. It's pretty much fully crossed bearish now, so that's not great. But we also lost the 4-hour Ichimoku cloud, so that's something. We don't really have a lot of the mega short-term rally backing us right now. We're still good. I want to make this super clear. Don't jump to conclusions. Just keep watching the video. We are still good. We're still okay. Things are fine. But we have lost an important indicator there. But the flip side to all of this is it's right here on the EMA ribbon on the daily time frame. This is why I'm not worried, and that's why I want to make this really, really clear. Like, we are doing some things that aren't great, and I'm going to continue to talk about them throughout this video. We're also doing some things that are absolutely amazing, and when we really zoom out, it's the long-term chart that still looks very bullish to me, and I think that we're doing okay from that particular perspective. So if I actually take this off, you can see very clearly, there's a lot of support right here on the daily EMA ribbon. We're totally fine, no question at all, that completely okay. If we measure how much we've dropped from the high down to our current price, we are now down by 8%, which makes this one of the bigger corrections. We had something similar to this previously, but that's it, right? Like, this is as big as it gets, really, unless we start pulling like a very big correction, something a little bit like this right here, which I don't necessarily think that we're in, but we very well could be, and I will talk about that as we carry on. So far this is a nice drop. If we actually go ahead and take a really close look at this chart, we can start to see if there are any interesting Fibonacci levels, because I think that's an important question to ask, because everyone's wondering right now, will Bitcoin stop dropping? Where will it stop dropping at? And we can kind of get an idea of that by looking at the Fibonacci retracement. We're at the 618 level right now, so that's really good. If Bitcoin can hold this level, we're great. But if we lose this level, which is $28,300, that's not going to be a particularly good sign. And yeah, I am going to have to expect that we return to the bottom of this range, to this green line right here. This is the bottom of our support range. There's also, you could also kind of stretch this whole box down to like here. That would also make a lot of sense, right? Because this is where a lot of our interactions happen. Maybe even shorten it, you know, so it kind of like starts up here. I think that's a pretty fair way to draw this box, to be honest, just showing basically the top half of this support. And we really don't want to fall out of the top half of this support, because this is where the support is strongest, and there is support lower than where we are right now. I want to make that clear. This is still a good level at 26.7, not only now but also somewhat historically. But what I really don't like is losing strong areas of support and then finding yourselves in a position where, see, now that if we do this, now that we've lost a strong area of support, we're basically holding our breath that a weaker area of support is going to stop Bitcoin from falling. But, you know, my question is, well, if the strong area didn't stop Bitcoin from falling, then how will a weak one stop Bitcoin from falling, right? I don't think that this is as strong of a support level as this, because there's just more trading that happened here, right? So the more we kind of trade about here, the more we get rejected, the more we find these little support moves and just kind of consolidate in these ranges, the stronger these areas become when they act as support or resistance. And we can visualize this too. If we look at the VPVR, it is pretty clear that this is the point of control. It's actually a little bit lower than where we are right now, which to me means that, like, for really short-term trading positions, there is some upside potential here. You know, it would be kind of surprising if we don't get a bounce. Like, even if the market is super bearish and you are, like, you know, just a perma bear and you think Bitcoin's going to go down to $3,000, still, like, even with that perspective, you understand that we're not going to move down in a straight line forever. You know, so a bounce, if we're going to get one, this is the right area to be expecting that. I want to take a quick look at this on Ethereum as well. I know I said that Ethereum analysis is going to be on the second channel, and it will be. Go watch that video right after this one is published, because I'm going to make that one right now, right after this Bitcoin video. It's linked in the description. It's literally the top link in the description. Just go ahead and check that out, and you'll be able to join me on the 𝐷𝐻𝐹𝐿𝐴𝑖𝑠 daily channel, where I give you more analysis on Ethereum. But the interesting thing with Ethereum is it's got like two of these levels right here. You know, one basically around where we are right now, which is exactly where I said Ethereum would return down to as a good potential level to buy. But another one a little bit lower, down at about 1870, and then much bigger ones even lower than that. So it's a slightly different picture for Ethereum, and that's why I have to make a separate video on it. I've also been looking at other altcoins, and a lot of these coins have approached levels that I told you I'm interested in actually potentially trading. So now is the time, if you haven't taken advantage of the huge offers available to you. I want to highlight the iPhone giveaway as well. Again, those of you that do sign up to Bybit using my link in the description are going to be entered into a giveaway where you can get an iPhone 14 Pro Max completely free. You only have to deposit $100 and you are entered into that giveaway. And then above that, depending on how much you deposit onto Bybit, you will just get even more cash bonuses deposited into your account when you start trading. And what that means is it's just free money that you can trade with. You can, you know, if you make profits, you can withdraw those profits as well. It is a really, really cool offer. But back to the chart right here. Altcoins looking super interesting, so I will be covering that on the second channel right after this one. But this is definitely the clear area of support for Bitcoin, sitting at about $28,000 flat. So that is an important level, I think, to continue to watch in this market. If we do end up losing it, yeah, I think we're gonna have to find support here, but I don't know if that's actually gonna work for Bitcoin. Like I said, the strong area failing, I can't rely on the weak one, so I am gonna be looking at $25,000. $25,000, as we know, is the level for Bitcoin. You know, this is what we want to see Bitcoin down to. If we're expecting a pullback, or if we're bearish, this is it. This is 25k. This is the level. 25k is the new 20k, basically. That's definitely something that I'm willing to go on record and say, because of the way that people are going to be perceiving it in their heads. So you know, if you think that the market needs a deeper pullback, then that's where I think we're going to drop to. But the only problem is, yeah, fear is starting to set in. So this is actually the good thing now. If we look at the fear and greed index, we're at a reading of 52. This is where things are really good, in my opinion. We've taken a stark drop down. This is actually outdated, and you can already see the index is starting to drop down. But look at how steeply it drops if I refresh the page here. Look at this. This is beautiful. So we were actually flatlining at a high level for a long time, and this is the first time we've started to come down, and we're not coming down slowly. We are coming down fairly quickly from 68 only on the 17th of April. It's been 3 days, and we're now down to 52. That's a 16, I think, point loss within just 3 days. That's not normal for the dollar index. I'm sorry, for the fear and greed index, right? We usually don't lose you know, our sentiment that quickly, but we are right now, simply because, I don't know why this page is so zoomed out. Simply because, people are, over leveraged. They're scared in these markets right now, and the market is shaking people out. So that's like, this is the flip side of things, to where, and I have to stress this. This is a really important point. Bitcoin is at a good support level. Bitcoin has good support across long-term timeframes. Short-term timeframes are bearish. But as we know very, very well, it's always eventually going to be the long-term trend. Not always, but like almost always. I mean, it's generally going to be the case that the long-term trend takes precedent. And when the long-term trend takes precedent is usually at important support areas like this or like this. So this is the thing. It's like, well, what's your outlook? Like, what's the time frame of your outlook? If you're almost someone who sees more slowly, who lives in slow motion, who's more patient, that's the most interesting way I, as a 21-year-old, have described a patient person, someone who lives in slow motion. Then yeah, you're going to be expecting 25. The reason I'm saying it that way is because 25k, as much as it pains me to say, is the level that makes sense. I'm in my long position, still am, made beautiful profits on this long position. It's been one of the best trades for sure that I made in my life, and certainly recently, and all of you guys have seen me trade it. I also traded it inside of VIP. I did it, of course, on Bybit. You can see this is the Bybit UI right here. This is obviously where I make most of my trades. You can see how it evolved, where, like 300% profit. I made about 170k, and then I made another kind of 120%, and it jumped up to a 200k plus profit trade. Really cool stuff. You can check it out with the link in the description down below if you want to trade in the same place as me. But because of that, obviously I want to see Bitcoin rising higher. I've got a vested interest in it, but it also doesn't mean that I bullshit myself. And yeah, 25k is that level that makes sense. So if the market needs to get a deeper pullback, that's where it's going to go down to, I think. But again, the issue is, and you can start to see this happening with the fear and greed index dropping so much, right? From basically 68 to 52 in just a few days. It could drop so much to the point where people get very scared, if the market starts doing this. Because basically what we would get, let me just help you visualize this, is if we end up going down to 25, I think we would get it like this. It would basically look something a little bit like this. So like pretty quick, like from, our high down to when we reach 25k, we're doing it within about 3 months. 3 weeks. Which is like pretty quick price action, I think, overall. It's definitely quicker to drop down than it was to rise up, which is so fucking standard for Bitcoin, for anything really, because fear moves faster than greed, and that, in with its nature of being fear, if it does trigger fear by that point, which let's be honest, if we look at the reading on the fear and greed index, it probably will, right? Like if we're already down to 52 but we're this high, well, what's going to happen if the price drops down to 25? Like we'll probably find ourselves in the 30s again, like 37 or something like that. And if that happens, well, a bit of a deviation starts to make a lot of sense, right? Before potentially we end up doing something, I don't know, a bit like this maybe, like we get a deviation, down to here, down to 22 or down to 22.8. These levels make a lot of sense. We tag these lows that nobody's expecting. We drop below 25. We drop below 23.8. We dropped below 24. It looks like everything's catastrophic, and it lasts a few days. And then whatever. The interest rates stop rising, whatever the case may be. And then the market starts to rally up again, and we continue setting highs. That's how markets move. So I think that you guys need to be aware of that if that's what we're looking at. Again, right now it's too early to say, but it's going to be very telling if we lose this green box. This is, I'm willing to go, pretty confidently out there and say like this is the level to watch 28, 27.8, whatever the case may be. Just that kind of bottom of our big area of support. Because if we lose that, then that tells us a lot about what the market could be seeing. I guess the main exception to this is what happens with traditional finance. If the S&P 500 tomorrow has a good day, where it gets to the top of this range or maybe even peaks up a little bit, giving Monday next week an opportunity to, rally the market significantly higher, then I think Bitcoin's going to be fine, right? I don't think that Bitcoin is going to be completely destroyed if, indices like the S&P 500 are okay. I just don't think that's going to happen. I think Bitcoin's stronger than that. So if that, you know, gold is still doing really well. Gold is back up above $2,000, looking absolutely beautiful. I mentioned to you guys yesterday in my video that I now officially own physical gold, which is amazing. That's a huge accomplishment for me. I'm very proud to be able to say that, because most people don't know how important that is, and that means I'm early. And I'm very happy to be early on this one, because this is a big deal. You know, so I'm quite excited for this position, and I think that gold's looking good. You know, like even if it does pull back, I gave you guys my analysis on gold. Like even if it does pull back, I think it should still be good again by the end of this year. You know, because it's ready to blow. At the same time, dollar, you know, look, again, it could and maybe even should bounce again. But how long are these bounces going to last? I think that if we were going to have a real recovery, we would have had the recovery by now. The way, you know, a bubble pop looks is this, where we get a catastrophic sell-off up here. Then we get a dead cat bounce up here. All right, look at this. It's just like Bitcoin. It's like looking at Bitcoin when it hit $20,000 for the first time. You know, but this time it's happening with the dollar shitcoin. You know, we top out at 20K here, drop down to 10, rally up to 17 here. We drop down to 6, rally up to 11, drop down to 6. We could rally up to 10K again, drop down to 6. We could rally up to 7K again, drop down to 6. It just ends up looking like the Bitcoin chart. You know, we start forming the same, you know, descending triangle, and then we break down and we hit 3K. You know, the dollar is doing the same thing. My point is there's no, that might have been really confusing for you guys, but if you've been in the market since 2018, that would have made a lot of sense. Let me know if you've been here since 2018. Just drop it in the comments. Say, I've been here since 2018. I'm curious to know how many of you guys have actually been watching me for that long. It's kind of crazy for me. Like this month or last month marked 6 years of me being a trader, which is crazy. Like that's a really long time. And if you guys have been around for a while as well, then I want to know, because that is really cool. You know, but the bottom line is I think that if the dollar was going to bounce and get a really real sustained bounce, and like especially like specifically to clear this high, that would have happened by now, you know, but it hasn't. And the fact that it hasn't, you know, well, if the dollar is weak, that generally does mean good things for traditional finance. And right now, Bitcoin is correlated quite well with traditional finance. Yes, we're a little bit more volatile. Bitcoin's pulling back clearly quite a bit when traditional finance isn't, but I'm fairly certain, I've been saying this for a long time, that as strength comes to traditional finance, it will also come to Bitcoin. Because bottom line, if we understand this from a psychological perspective, let's just break down what is actually happening. When people are making money in big markets, they're feeling smart, they're feeling happy, they're feeling greedy. And when they feel greedy, they want to make more money, but because they've already made money, they have the greed plus confidence. You've now accumulated confidence because you've been making money recently. All right. So when you've got that combination, you feel like anything you touch turns into money. You start touching risky shit. Okay. You start going from gold to Bitcoin because Bitcoin is risky compared to gold. You start making money on Bitcoin, you start touching riskier coins. You go into Ethereum, you go into altcoins, and so on and so forth. And we see this transition happen all the time. It's just basic psychology. You know it. You've probably lived it. You've probably sat through 1 or 2 crypto cycles by now, so you know the deal. You make a bit of money somewhere, and you get really greedy, and you become stupid, and you start putting your money in places that you probably shouldn't have, just because you thought you were the man, or whatever the case may be. Because we're in 2023 now, and and so if we come back to the chart and look at what that means, you know, well, at the end of the day. Well, to be fair, we don't even need to. It's a pretty clear picture. It's a pretty clear picture. Look, we got rejected at major resistance, and we're at an okay support area now. So you know, we just kind of wait and see what happens. If you're playing the short term, yeah, this is a buy. This is a buy, and you know what? It doesn't look like a horrible buy either. But is there a better buy down below? Yeah, definitely there is. This buy makes a lot more sense. Is the market going to give it to us? I don't know. You know, it might be that we make our way down here, but you know, we stop a little bit short and then we rally up. That would be quite unusual because the market has been really brutal with us over the last like 2 years. You know, like we've been punished. We've had over corrections constantly. So it would be unusual for the market to stop early, but maybe that's why we would. I don't think so. You know, for me, even though that's what I want to see, I just think it's more likely that the market does the painful thing, and the painful, and that's because that's what we've been seeing recently. So I'm just assuming that that's not going to change, but it's not a big issue. It's still super tradable. There's a lot of amazing opportunities here, so I'm not worried about it. I'm gonna go on to the 𝐹𝐺 Daily channel, give you guys some altcoin analysis now. So I'll see you down below with that first link in the description down there. If you have enjoyed this video, do me a favor, smash up the likes, subscribe, tick the bell. This is very time sensitive content. You want to get it right when it's published. Check out Bybit for up to $30,000 in trading ammunition, and OKX for up to $30,000 in trading rewards. All you've got to do for both is sign up down below using my links and make your first deposits. With OKX, it's super easy. You only have to deposit $50 and you're entered to get these mystery boxes that are worth up to $10,000. And with Bybit, you only have to deposit $100 to be entered into the iPhone giveaway. So if you want a free iPhone 14 Pro Max, it's only for you guys that sign up now during the competition. That means you can get your entry. Even if you already have an account, you can make a brand new one. So that is very, very cool. There you go, guys. I really hope you've enjoyed this one, and I'll see you on the Ethereum video very shortly.